Right now on IU Newsnet, females and firearms, not the most common pairing, but for one organization, this special niche is giving gun power to the girls.
And an Indianapolis man's mission to help refugees led to his capture in Syria. Hundreds of people gathered at his former university 1 year after to pray for his safe return.
And later, Starbucks is the popular choice for students when they need a coffee fix. But now the company is helping its employees get through school with more than just caffeine.
Hundreds of supporters came together Wednesday at Butler University's campus for a vigil in honor of Abdul Rahman Kasig, formerly known as Peter Kasig. Attendees wore white as a symbol of peace. Kasig, who was former student at Butler and Indianapolis native, was taken hostage by extremist group ISIS in October 2013 while helping Syrian refugees. In a video released last week, a militant beheaded British hostage Alan Henning and threatened to kill Kasig next. And just yesterday, American defense officials announced that Turkey is allowing the U.S. to use bases near the Syrian border to fight ISIS.
The U.S. Supreme Court kicked off its new session last Monday by saying it is staying out of the same-sex marriage debate, at least for now. The High Court decided not to review appeals on same-sex marriage victories in 5 states: Virginia, Utah, Oklahoma, Wisconsin, and our own Indiana. The decision clears the way for same-sex marriages to proceed in those states. They had been on hold while the appeals were pending. The justices did not give a reason for rejecting the cases.
Bathrooms on dorm floors may be getting a facelift soon, getting rid of boys and girls only stalls. IU Newsnet's Bianca Lev spoke with students and officials to find out why people are adamant about making this change.
The IU Student Association recently voted unanimously in support of gender-neutral bathrooms on single-gender residence hall floors. IU student Maggie Oates, a resident of Reed, addressed the Congress about this matter at their last meeting.
Support was important because it shows the diversity of the amount of people that care about providing safe spaces for transgender students and the amount of people that care about making a residence hall more welcoming.
The goal is not to establish a facility for opposite gender guests, but to rather create a safe place for transgender students to be able to use the bathroom comfortably. Andrew Gunther, the Director of Social Advocacy for the Residence Hall Association, was also president of the Congress Assembly, but declined an interview with IU Newsnet, providing the following statement about IUSA's decision. It wasn't meant to approve gender-neutral restrooms, nor has it resulted in gender-neutral restrooms. The statement of support was framed as an empirical claim that we now have gender-neutral restrooms when in reality we don't.
A statement of support from IUSA goes a long way. The bill is set to go before the Residence Hall General Assembly at their next meeting here at Forest. If the vote is unanimous again, change can really begin.
I would love to see the change implemented, hopefully by next semester even, because it's not something hard to do.
Currently, single-gender floors only have bathrooms designated for the particular gender that lives on the floor. Oates plans on attending the next General Assembly meeting to see the policy through.
It's just something I care about that I think everyone should care about.
For IU Newsnet, I'm Bianca Lev.
The bill pressing for gender-neutral bathrooms goes before the Residence Hall Association next week. If passed, that change can be implemented as soon as next semester.
Still to come on IU Newsnet, IU's longest-running tradition is back to belt out the greatest hits. I went behind the music in an exclusive sneak peek at this year's Singing Hoosiers.
And many of today's 17-year-olds could be found recording vines or behind a computer screen. But one of this year's Nobel Peace Prize co-winners is a teenager with an incredible backstory who has confronted the UN and President Obama about children's rights.
One of the 2 winners of this year's Nobel Peace Prize is the youngest ever. The Nobel Committee chose 17-year-old Malala Yousafzai for her ongoing efforts to make sure all children have access to education. The teenager was shot in the head in an assassination attempt by Taliban gunmen in October 2012 while she was campaigning for the girls' educations. Since the attack, she has spoken at the University of Harvard University and with President Obama. On Friday, she said she gave the encouragement to continue to work for children's education.
I have received this award, but this is not the end. This is not the end. This is not the end of this campaign which I have started. I think this is really the beginning. And I want to see every child going to school. There are still 57 million children who have not received education, who are still out of the primary schools. And I want to see every child going to school and getting education.
Yousafzai will share a $1 million cash prize with Indian children's rights advocate Kailash Satyarthi.
Here's some women at IU who are also making a difference in education. Our secondary education program is ranked 12th in the nation, attracting students from around the world. Some of these students are here from South Sudan with the hope of bringing lessons from their classroom back home. IU NewsNet's Abby Larico has more.
Yes, I'm here outside of the School of Education where 14 women from South Sudan will be studying for the duration of this school year. I spoke to a few of them about the program, which they're calling a life-changing experience.
So this is my room. It's kind of like not well organized, but even I was not like ready, but you're welcome.
Much like other new IU students, Viola Joseph Ukalobongo and her roommates are adjusting to life in Bloomington. But these women aren't just here to further their own education.
We are going to make the change for our country.
Originally, the School of Education planned to use a federal grant to send faculty to South Sudan to work with women.
Historically, the universities in South Sudan have very few women on the faculty.
But when fighting broke out in the small African country last December, they decided to bring the program's efforts here instead.
And see, here in Bloomington, education is colorful, education is ambitious, education is creativity. Education is where you can find yourself, you can make something good.
The women of different ages, careers, and ethnic backgrounds share a hope that their experiences will one day better their country.
So for us to get our voices as women, or to be anybody in the society, you have to get that key, to be educated, say that you know what's right and what's wrong.
They left their whole lives behind them to come here.
I left my work, I left my parents back home and all that.
But they're not looking back.
I'm not that so worried because it's I came for the better of South Sudan, like to get the knowledge and to take it back home.
And during the spring semester, faculty members from the School of Education will be traveling to South Sudan to work with educators there in an ongoing academic partnership between the university and that country. Reporting on campus, Abby Larico, IU NewsNet.
With the semester halfway over, the Singing Hoosiers are finally hitting the stage to show us their musical selections. I had a chance to preview the upcoming performance.